There's something really interesting going on with Storj. In the last 7 days, Storj has appreciated by 80%. And that happened in an overall bear market. It's the best performer in the top 100 cryptocurrencies in terms of market cap. And the reason for all of this is a cooperation. It's a cooperation with 3 new NFT customers, namely Europa Labs, Ultimate Division, and Amused. Now, does it still make sense to jump on this current rally? In order to answer this, we are not just going to look at the US dollar chart over here, right? This is what most people do. But the problem with US dollar charts is always the correlation across crypto. So even though Storj is currently outperforming, still the general crypto market, the general sentiment does have an influence on the price. So what we rather want to do is we want to look at relative performance, for example, relative to Bitcoin. This is Storj in Bitcoin. Or we can look at Storj relative to Ethereum. But then what's also interesting is to look at the competitors, namely Filecoin and Ziacoin. Because we want to know, is Storj potentially the winner among the 3? Right? In a lot of those technology plays, what very often happens is that one winner emerges and it's a winner takes most scenario, right? So it's rarely the case that it's a lot of players that share a particular market. Most of the time in technology, one player tends to dominate. So that's why I want to look at relative performance, and we've got Storj relative to Filecoin. This is interesting. And then Storj relative to Ziacoin. So let's start off with the Bitcoin chart. This is interesting in a way that over the long term, Storj outperformed by 107%, but we also tend to be somewhat in a sidewards trading range, with sometimes Storj being expensive, sometimes Bitcoin being expensive. So it's not yet a done deal that Storj is really going to outperform the safest of the cryptocurrencies, right? Bitcoin can be regarded as a low risk crypto investment. And when you go up with risk, as in you go down in market cap, you take smaller altcoins, you do expect an outperformance versus Bitcoin, because what else is the point of taking on more risk if you don't get more performance? We did see this to a certain degree with Storj so far, but it's not yet since August of 2020 necessarily decided that over the long term Storj will outperform Bitcoin. But still, we can potentially take advantage of these short-term rallies, right? If you time this right, you buy low, you sell high, you can get a 500% outperformance. But if you time this wrong, right, when you buy whenever there's hype, you can also easily underperform by 70% or so. Currently, it doesn't look as if Storj is particularly cheap versus Bitcoin. Now versus Ethereum, this becomes even more apparent. So this is Storj versus Ethereum, and we tend to bounce back whenever we get these insane rallies, right? It's more or less the same kind of level where Storj turns around in relative valuation. And when we do see these drops, we've got a more than 80% underperformance. Currently, with the recent rallies, we do around 150% or so in profit. And this, just from a TA perspective, does not look that encouraging yet, right? So if you want to jump on this recent rally, right, if you're considering to bet on a further outperformance, it might make sense to set pretty close stop losses. Because what very often happens is, if we do continue the rally, that the down movements are not that significant. We simply just continue to shoot up. But in case we do turn around, then it seems to be a done deal. We then tend to just continue to bleed. So this is a major resistance over here. If you don't set a stop loss, you might set yourself up for an underperformance versus Ethereum by 60%. If we do simply continue this rally, we could be in for a gain of 150% almost versus Ethereum. So that's the point of short-term speculation. You want to make sure that the risk versus reward is right. And the best way to set this up for Storj, I think, is to set a stop loss of maybe a maximum loss versus Ethereum of 20% or so. And then in case we don't fall that much, to let the winnings ride and potentially set a trailing stop loss, right? So the higher it rises, the higher you set your stop loss, so that once it does turn around, that you take profits instantly. Now let's look at the competitors. So this is Storj versus Filecoin, and this looks very, very nice, right? Filecoin is having a bad time, and it really looks like Storj is making the race against Filecoin. The outperformance is 1,600%. So these are, in my opinion, direct competitors to one another. And when you see one player outperforming by that much, it's very hard to turn around the momentum again. After this entire rally, by the way, Filecoin is still way larger, right? So Filecoin has a market rank of 37, so its market cap is 1.2 billion. Storj, however, is at market rank 97 with a market cap of only 296 million. So Filecoin is roughly 4 times the size, meaning the tendency is when investing into Storj that you take on more risk. And this is exactly what you want to see, right? You take on more risk and you get more return. Your additional risk is being compensated when buying Storj versus Filecoin. So just given this overall dynamic, right? If you're just thinking of when allocating within a portfolio, when buying only a single decentralized file cryptocurrency, then probably might make sense to rather bet on the asset that currently has the momentum with it. And that's definitely Storj, not Filecoin. Now let's also look at Ziacoin. Ziacoin is slightly smaller than Storj, so the market rank is 120, the market cap is 207 million. So it's pretty much in the same ballpark, but slightly smaller. This is Storj's performance versus Ziacoin's performance. And this is less clear of a picture, right? We do not yet see the long-term outperformance of Storj similar to the Bitcoin chart. So again, we've got a pretty strong resistance over here. And these movements, they tend to be pretty large in magnitude, right? From top to bottom, more than 80% of a potential loss. So we pretty much have to take the same conclusion here, right? Currently, Storj is relatively expensive. It does have massive resistance. We can see this on the Ethereum chart. We can also see this in the relative valuation to Ziacoin. So if you just want to trade this short term, make sure to set very tight stop losses. There is downside risk. If you're just thinking about this long term, then at least preferring Storj over Filecoin is probably the right approach. But don't forget to check those charts regularly, right? Crypto is very dynamic. If there are new partnerships that are being announced for other projects, of course, this dynamic can turn around potentially. Please give this video a like. It will help the channel grow. And in case you haven't yet subscribed, feel free to do so. I publish videos regularly. You might also consider the premium membership. So that's to be found at thebitcoinstrategy.com. Link is in the video description. There are daily market updates around Bitcoin, around Ethereum, around various altcoins. There's evergreen content around mindset and strategy, various tutorials, even a dedicated course on technical analysis. And of course, there are Telegram channels where you can ask me any questions directly. There's a slight discount currently, so it's $49 US per month. More information is in this video. Hope to see you over there, and thanks for watching this one. Bye-bye.